Hey guys, it's Rockstoom here. This video is going to be my Death Gambit GDQ submission. I hope you enjoy. I'm going to try and do a walkthrough basically of what we do. So we kill this guy at the start. Typically he has dialogue boxes, and this prevents us from getting the dialogue boxes. It also gives you some shards. It's only a little bit, but it does help. And then you have a horse cutscene here where we kind of just ride along until about 52 seconds or 56 seconds, roughly. Just depends on how fast you start. This record was beat. This is a previous world record. This run was beaten by a few seconds, I believe, recently, maybe 20 seconds or so. So I will have to try and reclaim that at some point, probably. So right here is the first like glitch we do in the run. We do an item jump right there to get up top. Normally you would go down to the right and you would climb around basically. There's also a leaf there to the left. That blue item on the branch, you can grab that. It's a healing item. It's kind of a safety strap, but you can get it. It's pretty useful. Now we have to unlock that door basically by collecting a bunch of these statues here. So that was the first one. Save, and then you augment a couple of your feathers for damage basically. So typically use feathers to heal. It's kind of like Dark Souls health potions. You can kind of augment them to increase your damage, or you can keep them to heal. So typically we're going to augment most of our feathers. That's where the guy in leaves will come in handy basically, because we won't have any healing items roughly. Here's another item jump. You can kind of slide off that roofing to get to the right instead of going around to the left. I kind of actually wasted a little bit of time there. I didn't have to fight those guys. You can just run past. You can kind of slide through this fire and just take the damage as well. But yeah, typically you want to get through here in one full cycle, like that. Well, 2 cycles, basically. You two bomb that guy. You grab that feather for so you can augment it later. And there's 2 bombs over here you can grab. Here we kill Ion. Basically we kill her just to get the shards off of her, I believe, and then maybe a boss point. I think it's maybe just the shards, but those shards end up helping out. Basically, hit a certain barrier you're looking for. It's only 2 bombs as well. I should mention there's a new glitch. It's like an inventory drop, basically where you drop faster when you're in your inventory, which I actually do not do in this run, so I have to implement that at some point. I don't think it was known. I'm not sure when that was brought in, but I don't think I saw it until the new current world record. Here you can get a nice quick phase as well. So basically you kill these 2 guys and that spawns another one of the large dudes. If you stand in that position, you can get a quick phase here. Basically a bomb, a nice charge attack, and then a triple swing with the bonus damage from the charge. Because when you use your charge and it's on cooldown, I think you do bonus damage with the halberd. So that's the final unlock, so we can finally go through the door at the start. We'll be off to our Owl King boss fight, which is the first boss in the game. We trivialize it with a couple nades and then just a quick swing or an arrow shot or 2, I believe. Again, another running portion, riding the horse along. This run specifically will be all bosses. There isn't any percent category, but it's a lot less consistent and it requires a lot of like out of bounds glitching, which kind of takes a while and is dull. You kind of just throw a dagger at a wall for about a minute a couple times. Also, right there is a bug. You actually dismount from the horse a lot of times. I don't know what it is. I think if you mount too fast, you dismount once or twice even. I've had. So here we're grabbing Fortitude, which helps us later in the run. And we also grabbed an Immortalite Stone, which is basically gives us shards, a lot of shards, and I use that instantly. So because we're going to be buying some bombs here. Bombs help cheese all the early bosses, and then the later bosses will have a different strategy. So the reason we pick Noble is because you get this vendor here, right there where it's panning over. There's a vendor in the cave there. He has bombs, which, like I said, basically trivializes all the early bosses and helps you set up and do certain things that you normally wouldn't be able to do. And he also drops a level 5, like, high quality halberd when you kill him. So again, we end up just killing NPCs a lot of times. Here I connected a controller, I believe, because controller menuing is faster. You literally just spam X or like A or something on the controller to buy. On keyboard and mouse, you actually have to click back and forth between selecting it and then buy. It's kind of tedious and it's pretty slow. I was trying to do that recently and I don't think I could get it. I was getting it to work, so that was I'll have to figure that out. We kill him to get some extra shards, and he drops boots actually, which is a rare drop basically. You buy another phoenix feather from her, and then you kill her for another 300 shards. Then you bomb this guy once, and you swing an arrow like that, and you set up at this spot. And when the metal on the gun, the golden metal, you throw a couple bombs to finish him off. That gets you the Cresta Gaia, which is used to get into basically the northern part of the game. Also, you have to beat it. You need it for a couple other bosses as well. I think you need it to go up to Mulvero, and you need it to go to Kusith as well. It unlocks doors basically. This is a wisp you need pretty much. It I don't know. I guess I'm pretty sure you need it, but it basically reduces how much you need, how much energy you need to use an ability. So it helps change Fortitude's cost from like 30 or 45, I believe, to 15. This works for like other things too. For now, we're using it on our charge attack. So here again, we're gonna just be bombing. This is the second boss, Phoenix. We're just gonna be bombing her 3 times and do a charge, and she's dead instantly. We get the talent point and we're on our way. You can grab a mask from this vendor. Basically, if you're below like 75 or 80% health, if you're wearing the mask, you take damage until you heal to full. So it's pretty sketchy, but it does give you bonus like attack power, and I believe it also gives you bonus like um, agility. I believe it's strength and agility. I think it gives you both. So depending on like what your damage source is, it can help increase your damage. Just you have to make sure you stay pretty healthy. This can be used pretty well later in the run when we get to iframes. Most of the end game is just we iframe most of it. So you actually won't be taking any damage, or shouldn't be, unless you're refreshing and you end up taking damage, which definitely happens. So you can get a quick phase here. It can be 3 or 4 jumps. It just depends on. It can be 3 or 4 phases depending on how fast you can kill him and when you hit him. If he does a certain animation, he can lock himself into it, and you can one-shot him. But it's very hard and pretty inconsistent, I would say. I don't think I've seen a consistent strat. But basically, the goal is to get him to that line there on his health bar. That'll put him into phase 2 essentially, and then he'll have one more jump phase. So he did 2 jumps so far. Here, the plan would be get him close to that line and lock him into an animation, and then bomb him basically to death. Bomb charge probably, or 3 bombs even. That would be the goal to get a quick phase, but it's pretty inconsistent. Technically, you won't really lose anything for going for it, but it just rarely happens. Even if you got it close, it probably wouldn't have worked. But that might be a slight optimization. I think I just went for 4 phases here. So again, you get another jump here, unfortunately, and so you have to wait for him to come back. You can get a nice quick finish though. Just a couple nades to wrap up. And you get the shards, and you got to make sure you get the talent point there. Otherwise, you'd miss out on it. One major thing is you can miss talent points. It's only like predominant in like one area. I think it's the next boss, which is actually Gaian. Karen, I think you can miss out on the talent point as well. We grabbed another Phoenix Feather as well, which isn't just going to be another one to augment basically again. And then we're headed straight over to Gaian, which is right in front. This will be the 4th boss already. Karen was the last one was the 3rd boss. And I made a slight mistake there falling off the ladder as well. There was some optimizations. Like I said, I had to check out the inventory dropping, as that was like a new glitch basically found recently. So here again, you're just nading the boot a couple times. You can stun lock Ion again with nades, and you can just kill the second boot as easy as the first, and that's that Gaian fight. During this, you can actually start putting your talent points in, which is what I should do here. You can start putting your talent points in right away as you get them, which is helpful. You can also start plugging in, because you can't leave until you get that talent point. And get that. If we normally feather out of here, if I would have feathered before that talent point, we would struggle to do other parts of the run basically. So here's where we save again finally, and that's it. I don't think I did any menuing actually. The next area we go to is actually we just one-shot Bulwark, and then I think we go save anyways. So there's no reason for me to do any menuing at the moment. I don't need any stats. Stats aren't going to help me. So I just get to this. This is RNG based. He has to use a certain move, and we swing into him with the scythe. He has to do the lightning charge, and right here, when you do it, you swing into him and you spam click, and it'll bring you down. So you get that talent point, and then you can head down here. This was actually an any percent adaptation, which I added to the run myself. They did this in any percent. I realized that it actually saves you time from going up. I think the up path is like 1.5 minutes, whereas this is only like 50 seconds. So you actually saved like half a minute almost, which helped me cut down the world record actually at one point. So here's where we save, and now I can augment the feathers here instead. So I'll have bonus shards as well from that boss. So instead of menuing twice, you just menu here. And here's where you're gonna equip fortitude and stuff. So what happens here is, I believe I also maybe changed this, is we pick up a feather, I believe, and teleport back to that, and we'll go back later, I believe, for, I believe we actually do Auriga late, but we come grab these next 2 bosses. We do, well, next 3 actually, we do Dark Knight, then we do Bi-Surge, and then we do Eldritch Council. So this we're kind of just running through, not really much going on here. We have some nades left over, which is actually good because I believe they're super effective against this boss. They actually crit because they're like the source of damage that it does is effective against Dark Knight. That being said, this fight can be a little scary. You have to manage yourself pretty well. Also, his attack patterns probably could cause you some time loss depending on what attacks he uses, because they're pretty random. You can get him into some sort of lock where he does the same kind of move, I think, against the wall, but like that, where he did that charge again and again. But you can easily just miss it. Right here I was out of stamina, so I lost a little bit of, and I almost died there actually because I didn't have enough stamina to roll, so he was going to hit me. Get the talent point, and you can actually soft lock the game there. You can soft lock the game there on the elevator cutscene, unless it's changed. If you walk out and the elevator cutscene triggers, it'll soft lock the game, which is pretty rough. It's not fun. To the right, there is a gun, I believe. And I think I just skip it because technically you only use it at like one major point. No, sorry, the gun is below. Yeah, the gun is below here. Oh, and I messed this up. Wow. Okay, so here you're supposed to hit those 4 lights and that activates it. I was slightly slow. I think I fell and I missed it actually. So yeah, here's what I was thinking of. You can pick up the Lancer there. This gun it shoots far, but its damage stays kind of low and consistent. It doesn't really get buffed by anything. We pick up another gun that it does more damage, but it shoots a shorter range and actually ends up bending the bullet backwards. This doesn't really matter, and it also scales a little bit with your stats. Yeah, I got a fast phase there. You can slide through that part where before the scroller comes over, and it kind of locks you for another second. And then this is just an enemy we need to kill to get through here, basically. It takes a while. It's not really a boss. It's like a mini boss, and we kill it with iframe. So we have the dash now. So what you do is you jump, air dash, and you start shooting your gun. And while you shoot the gun, you'll have iframes. So now I will not take damage as long as I do that. We paired this with Fortitude. Fortitude has a 90-second cooldown. And when I have, typically your gun takes energy, but when your abilities are on cooldown, if you can have it cost 0, your guns cost 0, or spells cost 0. So we pair that basically so you can shoot infinitely with no energy for 90 seconds at a time. When that 90 seconds is up, you'll have to get some energy and you have to use Fortitude again. So that's the only like part where you're vulnerable for the rest of the run, really, which can be a major problem. There's the Swarm. That is the gun that we were looking for, the better one. And again, ooh, I actually got stunned there. That's really bad. So, and I actually fell a bunch too. That was really sloppy. Looks like I made a couple mistakes here. Definitely. So there's a save to the left. We grab this feather. We don't actually go save it because we want to just keep our save point so we can feather to it. You can use a feather to basically shortcut to the whatever save you went to last, so we don't want to change that save point. So here's Buy Surge. Again, we're just going to be framing him mostly. And then I might need to use Fortitude during this fight. I can't tell. It's actually behind my cam. But it looks like it should be fine. Here, here's like where the occult helmet that I talked about earlier, 70 to 80% health. If you fall below it, you take damage. We're using it with iframes. We do a little bit more damage, I believe, per hit. So I think that wouldn't be 88. It would be lighter otherwise. So it helps us out a little bit to complete the boss fight a little bit faster. You know, maybe a couple bullets. And here we're entering where we'll fight Eldritch. This is kind of just a bunch of running past enemies and not getting caught, really. We do another exploit where we throw a warp bomb through a door that you normally would need a key. So you pretty much just walk up to the door and throw the warp bomb and it goes through. Also, there was a point in the buy surge area I forgot to mention that you can literally just dash through the door. If you just jump and you can dash through like basically a door or a wall that you normally wouldn't be able to. You'd have to activate. So yeah, I'm iframing most of this at the start, it looks like here. And then you can grab those boots if you don't have boots. And that was a save point, but I skip it. And I actually slid all the way down to the bottom layer, which you could fall off, which would be dangerous, but yeah. Typically here, you would do this whole fight. You would have to kill these shards, and then it would spawn enemies, and you kill the enemies and whatnot until, and then the boss would come down after you killed all the shards. So you kill them one shard at a time, and then it spawns enemies, next shard, etc. you can actually just jump and hit her from the bottom, and as long as you don't, so the blood fills up and then you take damage over time. It didn't quite fill up by the time we hit her, and then it resets when you bring her to this phase. So then you basically do the same exact thing and she dies. Again, iframing the whole way. Get the talent point straight to the feather. So we don't do the there's normally an elevator and a cutscene. There was a cutscene skip, but instead we just skipped the entire area, just go back to the save point. So now we're headed out towards Kusith and Amulvero. I believe it's Amulvero, Kusith, and then we'll end up feathering back again to that same exact spot. So I will do Amulvero. I'll probably run out to Kusith after Amulvero, and then we feather back to that same exact spot. So our save point alters only like 3 times in the run. We get the first one in the first area. We get the one below in Sanctuary, and then we get that third one, and then we pretty much just keep it there for the most part until like the end of the game. You can augment a feather at the end, essentially, but yeah, you're kind of running around and beating bosses without saving. So if you die, like that would be the run basically. So yeah, here we get a bunch of big enemies. They're kind of tanky, but other than that, again, iframes make it pretty trivial. You can do a nice dash skip there and slide your way up here. You can turn off the lasers. I think it's faster to just kill these enemies actually than turning off the laser, because you only need to kill these owl kings, and you need to kill the last large enemy there. You don't need to kill the shield bearer, and then you're up already. So I could have deactivated it, but you have to go to the left, and it kind of takes time. I'm not sure which is exactly faster, but I think that seems to be faster to me. Here you have to do an item jump over. You grab this leaf and you do an item jump over. It's another heal for you, and you're basically going to item jump over this as well. You normally can't make these jumps, so it's slightly out of range. So you do these in a certain order. Basically, this is the simplest order. You jump over the side, and then you do these last two. They all give you a debuff. The debuff's behind my timer actually at the moment, but typically with iframes, it doesn't matter a whole lot. It looks like I had a little bit of troubles here. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but it looks like that was a little bit slower than what I wanted. I think I was trying to get energy to redo my fortitude at the time, it looks like, so I can iframe this. You have to remember to not have the helmet on here, I believe, because you would start taking damage when it reduces your health to like 75% or something, so you begin to take damage if you have the helmet on. And again, there's a save point. We just skip it and we go straight into the Amulvero fight. The worst part about this fight is that you have to redo your fortitude once. The fight lasts longer than 90 seconds, so you have to redo your fortitude once, which can cause you to die if you're not careful. I'll see how, I don't remember how clean I did it on this run specifically, but I will definitely see how it goes. This is I feel like one of my scarier moments in the run, because just getting the energy you need can be like touchy, and getting off the fortitude without getting like hit or one shot or comboed, it can be a little rough, especially depending on like what his attack pattern is. I don't think it's always uniform. Pretty sure it's not always uniform. It can be like kind of randomish. Similar typically, but I don't think it's always uniform. And right now we're just going to be doing iframes, it looks like. I think I might have gotten the fortitude at the start of the fight. That would be really lucky, because then it should last pretty much the whole fight. So there's 2 phases like this. The next one's going to be when I hit him to that line. So basically he's going to come out of this. We'll hit him probably down to that line, and he'll do another one of those phases. And then you finish him off basically. He does stagger a little bit normally if you do a certain amount of damage, so that kind of keeps him from doing too many attack phases. And here you go. You wrap up the fight here. Looks like I fortituded at the start, and I didn't have any troubles getting it up really. It looks like it actually maybe ran out at the end, my fortitude, and I had to swing him out. Again, that can be a little scary. All right, so now you end up running down. Here's a good prime example of a spot you might be able to item drop. I don't think they used item dropping here, but I'm pretty sure it would be a nice opportunity. We do an item jump there, or sorry, inventory drop. You're falling a lot here and then also here, and you can fall fast with the inventory drop. I feel like that would be a nice optimization to inventory drop there. I'm not sure if it causes any problems because I haven't done it yet. All right, and again, we're headed out. We're just on our horse. We're headed out to Kusith, which is back actually at the beginning of the game, roughly. But it's one of the final bosses you can complete. You technically don't even have to do this boss. I think in my casual playthrough, I didn't actually complete this boss because I didn't know it was here. But basically, you get the Gaian shield and you bring it back here, and you can fight him. Pretty simple fight overall. He can, I believe, stomp on you, which is not iframeable. It's dealt like out of bounds damage. Like if you were to fall to your death or something, it's dealt like that, I believe. Something like that. So you have to be careful that you don't get stomped on, I believe. But that's about it. Typically, I just hide in the back then. So I just shoot the back foot because he can't stomp on you from behind. He only stomps in the front. So this keeps it nice and easy. Oh, also this part right here, it can be a little flashy. I don't think they planned for this boss to get hit quite as fast as you hit it. I typically actually would give like a minor seizure warning on that. I don't think I ever had problems specifically, but just in case. I actually forgot I had to do a Riga, which is the boss here, and so that was kind of like out of order. I did a lot of messing around there, so that would be a little bit of time save as well. This is helping me to notice how much I can still optimize too, a little bit. There's typically a feather down there, but I don't think we can access it. Pretty sure we don't have. So I warp bombed past the cutscene there. That's what I did there. So we bought warp nades earlier. That's useful at that point. So this is a Riga fight. There's nothing too special here. She can definitely kill you as well. So you have to be pretty careful. I believe that there's like a cookie cutter start like that to kind of get her to do a certain swing setup. The goal actually here, I believe, is you can. Pretty sure you can get her in like one phase short, but it just depends on her attacks. You can finish her like you can quick fight this where you save a phase. I think I get that this run, which helped a ton. So she's doing another phase. Let's see. I think she comes down and I'm able to kill her, but she normally would go up one more time, I believe. And that was like really big, if I recall. She always kind of tends to go to the side that you're not on, so I was on the right side of the map. Sure, she went left. Nope. I didn't quite get it. So yeah, you could have see she lived with a sliver of health. If I would have killed her that phase, it would have been huge. I ran out of fortitude here. So I ended up hiding behind the statues to actually do the fight. So I couldn't iframe. 'Frame. 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 ' come over here, talent point, boom. I believe we have all of our major talent points set already. This is a cutscene skip. You can literally like walk in and then just swing back out or turn around basically, and that skips that cutscene. I believe you do like a swing, a roll, or like basically you just turn around, try and get basically when you go into that room. And then we can unlock that door. That was the door I was running into earlier. So now we're headed out to Thalamus, and then we'll have Phoenix. We'll have Heroic Phoenix and the final boss. This is my personal favorite part of the run right here. Right here, you actually just want to die as fast as possible. So typically, I have the helmet on, and I want to take that bonus damage. Basically, it can speed things up. It looks like that one would have been the same, but yeah, you just want to die there. You can't beat endless there, and that's what prompts the Thalamus fight. This is just a cutscene, so you can actually access your inventory here. So I normally clean out my inventory if I need and equip stuff if I need. But this is just going to be mostly optimized movement through the water area, and then the Thalamus fight at the end. So right there, you just jump over the hand and right into the next area here. This part gets a little trippy. Everything's a little weird here. So it gets kind of like it's almost like a dream or like a nightmare maybe. It feels like. Mostly just dashing as much as you can. You have to hit certain points on the screen to activate that. So you have to go right certain amount and then left, and then you have to swing through that wall. Again, things are kind of weird in this area, so it's definitely the best part of the run though. It's my favorite. So there's just a lot of odd things that happen basically. This is a similar fight to the Endless one, where I think you just want to let him damage you essentially for the most part. Because it causes the phase to end faster. And you also want to bring him to the left as much as you can because you end up leaving on the left. So if you can end up going to the left, that works out best. You don't want to take him right just so you can run to the left. Get a little bit of shards there too. Alright, so yeah, you exit on the left and again back to the same area essentially. Mostly just dashing through, make sure not to get hit as much as possible. These right here can stun you. And this is the Thalamus fight. This is where we get to the Thalamus fight. So you go down this corridor and you literally get crushed by basically a bunch of bodies of yourself, which you're also walking on. You have to, again, you have trigger points. You have to go to a certain point and then come back to kind of trigger the cutscene. Basically, you get crushed and it starts the Thalamus fight. This fight is probably the best fight in the game. Technically, you don't damage the boss. You collect like positive thoughts, it seems. So there's positive and negative thoughts. You collect the positives, and that damages the boss if you do it successfully. Typically, there'd be like a lot of dodging and maneuvering in the fight, but again, iframes helps avoid a lot of it. Again, you have to refresh your fortitude probably during the fight because the fight's gonna last a little while. Plus, you probably had fortitude on like half cooldown, So you have to refresh it at some point in the fight. That's the major thing to avoid like taking damage. I believe I normally refresh it at the second phase of when those like alien dummies form. I swing at those and I collect some energy and I redo my fortitude. So here's where we collect the words. I collected Valor there, which is like a positive. The other ones were like Dread and Woe. So that's how the fight kind of goes along, is you pick up positive words from the list, basically the options that it drops. And there that's basically yourself that was on the ground. You collect that as well to like end that phase, and it shoots just like the ghoul bolts at you. So I guess that was the second set of alien dummies. It looks like. It looks like I'll probably do the third one maybe. I cleared out the first one, and I don't know if I fortitude on it. I didn't. I don't think I fortituded on the first one. I think I just had it up already. But I might have just done it on the first one. I believe you refresh it once during the fight though. Yeah, right here. So I collect a little bit of energy from swinging at these, and that's gonna help me redo my fortitude, I believe. I'm not shooting I'm not doing iframes right now just because I want to save my energy, I believe. Here, I was struggling to find the word. It was loyalty. So that was just unfortunate timing, basically. So I used an item there. I equipped an item and used it, so I would have enough energy to iframe or to use fortitude. Also, right here, you have to get hit by these. If you iframe here, this fight will just kind of continue endlessly. So you have to make sure you get hit by these. That ends the fight essentially. It allows the fight to end. Then this should be the last phase of the fight essentially here. So on the third wave, I was able to refresh my fortitude, which wraps up the rest of the fight, and then basically be headed into the castle and to fight Endless essentially at the end. We fight the only boss that you have to fight twice, and you have to fight the heroic iteration of is Phoenix. There's other bosses that you can fight the heroic version of by like spawning it. You have to fight heroic Phoenix. There's no exception. It unlocks the way to the end of the game. So here's the word is courage again. So you just have to catch it. I was concerned there that I didn't pick up the correct word because they were right next to each other. I thought I got the wrong one, but I got the right one. It looks like. So now we're headed into the end of the game. Again, we're going to be using a warp orb to kind of a warp bomb to skip a cutscene that would spawn. So we stop right up here before this sword, basically, and then throw it, and that skips the cutscene. And again, we right here, I probably would just collect some energy for fortitude right there, which I did. Then I'll fortitude here, and then that way I can iframe. You can get crushed. That part right there is a little touchy. You can get crushed pretty easily, or you could just not have iframes, or you could, if you don't have iframes and you just get hit, there's a lot of problems. This is the Phoenix fight. Basically, we're going to be leaving on the left. I don't think it matters if you go left because she's going to recenter to the room. But I went left here at the start. Typically, you're just going to keep her stun locked if you can. I believe I switched helmets because I was full health. I switched to the other one, and I think you can see the damage increase. I think it went from like 30s to 44. We pick up another feather, which we're going to augment at some point, right at the end, basically, for increased damage. Right here again, this area coming up ahead again is just fortitude management. You want to have fortitude at a certain time up ahead, essentially. Which I just fortituded there. A lot of these areas can be made easier if you fortitude at a certain time, but you have to make sure that like the timing works out. Like if you ended up like dropping fortitude a little bit earlier or setting it up a little bit late, it's going to change when you can activate it. So right here, you can just go up through without like resetting that room, and you can not worry about the scythes or the fireballs. I wasn't the best at it, but you can, yeah, you can do kind of a fast climb on the ladders. I believe there's another method where you swing as well, which was in the new world record, I believe, as well. So we're headed up to the endless fight. Again, I'll probably hit the save point, augment a feather real quick, and make sure I have things equipped. I'll probably equip the helmet for the damage, and then that would be it. The bonus damage helmet. And set up some extra stats, yep. Increase my strength and such. Just to make sure I'm doing the most damage. It takes about 3 seconds to set up and probably saves similar amount. So probably either one would work. I'll end up killing her. There's like 5 different health bars we end up draining, so that extra damage probably adds up. So this will be the second. She basically gets a second health bar, and then she gets 3 extra phases. Again, with cutscenes in between. This kind of tells you that. This kind of gives you the background that she's like your mother, actually. And this is pretty much just iframe the last 3 phases. I really enjoyed this game. This game was pretty good by my standards. It's not everybody's favorite, but it was really fun to speedrun, definitely with the iframes and such, learning the glitches and kind of getting good at them. Definitely was. This was like my first major full game run as well. Time is when you hit the orb at the end here in like 5 seconds. Super good game. I'd love to run it. But that's the rundown basically. Thank you for watching, and hopefully we'll see it at GDQ possibly. Peace, guys.